Welcome, welcome.
Thank
What
you.
episode are we on
I don't know.
today?
90 something. 7?
We're almost at 100.
We're almost at 100.
What should we do for our 100th?
We should do an episode for sure.
Maybe an episode, maybe
A giveaway?
a giveaway or
A
something.
giveaway would be nice. What are we going to give away? You want to give away your car?
No.
What do you want to do? People nowadays don't care for like charcuterie boards that you're giving away or like
A cutting
stools,
board.
bar stools or
Give away a book.
Nobody's entering that.
Nobody's entering that
Yeah.
contest.
Yeah.
They could just buy a book themselves.
Yeah. Well, we might as well do this kind of episode. So we're taking off in 2 days for our 10-year anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
What's being married to me like for 10 years?
First of all.
So I'm going to do a little disclaimer.
Okay.
I'm not going to toot my own horn and I'm not going to make things better than they really are for me, but I feel like I have an easy personality to get along with, but I'm also very difficult.
So
Like
which one is it?
as easy as I am, I'm also equally difficult because I overanalyze, I overthink, you know what I mean? Like,
I guess if somebody doesn't know you and know that's the way you process things, then you could be difficult.
did you get a good feel on it after 10 years?
Yeah.
You did?
I think
When did you realize it?
maybe in the last couple of years.
Last 3 weeks.
Those last couple of months. You know what? I think, honestly, I feel like in the last year, I don't know. I feel like we've been more aware and like in tune with each other's
Social cues.
emotions and like the way we process information, the way we deal with situations and hard things. I think there was a period of time where neither of us like were really aware of that or like in tune, and now for whatever reason, maybe it's the 10-year mark.
Yeah. Did you know that most people divorce by the 7th year? 7-year mark.
They call it the 7-year itch,
Yeah, I've heard that before.
or before, but
And I think the reason they do, it's because it takes, I don't know how many years, and then by the time you burn off that candle, that 7 years, maybe it takes like 5 years for you to like see the real person, and then give it 2 more years of buffering of like saying, I'm just going to push through it. And then on the 7th year, you're like, I
think it is. I think it's pushing through for a long time, because honestly, like this 10 years has flown by.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had like moments where it felt like, with kids and everything, it just felt like a lot. And we had hard moments and good ones. But I honestly, like thinking back, I'm like, how have we been married 10 years? It feels like a couple of years.
How long have you been faithful for?
9.
9. It's funny when outsiders look into your life, they think like, well, and I remember my mom saying this. She said that my dad was always a very, what's the word? It's like, and maybe this is where I get it from. He's like, he always shared stories, and people loved hearing those stories, or like things that he learned or read, and he would share those stories.
He's a good storyteller.
Right. And my mom, she would hear this feedback from people and being like, oh, you're such a entertaining, interesting person. There's no boring days with you. And my mom would be like, are you kidding me? Like,
He only shares that with other people.
Right. It's like an act, essentially. Like, people are around, let's turn it up. And I know there's a part of me that has that as well, right? Because like I'll have, let's say maybe a difficult day, and then we're amongst like good company, and then all of a sudden I get lively.
But isn't everybody like that to a point?
To a point.
I know there are some people that have a harder time masking it or letting it go. Like for me, it's more, for you, I think you compartmentalize. I have such a hard word.
Me
saying
too.
That word.
I literally did drills the other day trying to say that word.
We did?
Compartmentalize. I still didn't say it.
Compartmentalize. It's such a hard word to say,
I don't know why.
especially as a foreigner.
Right.
I think you have a good you are really good at that. And so you say something like irritated you, and then you have people coming over. You're good about kind of like leaving that there, and then like enjoying yourself, and then coming back to that once they leave. For me, I think I'm just more, something irritated me, as long as I can like process through it, I go, well, it's like not worth it to even think about it anymore. So I'm like moving on. So I think I just move on easier, and you are good about
staying there,
soaking it all
being
in.
left behind.
You just love to absorb that feeling of just.
You've always been good about giving people the benefit of the doubt. You've always been good about finding the best in people and not the worst. I've always like leaned on, well, this is their agenda. This is where they're coming from. This is on them, playing the victim card, versus what I should be doing is like, well, this is me. This is what I'm doing wrong. I have a tendency to find the worst in people, and until they prove me wrong. And then again,
So
they're
interesting
trying to
how
trust.
different. It's a lot of his upbringing, experiences, but I think
Right.
a lot of it is just like personality and the way you are, right?
So-
Internally, what do you think?
Well, I don't know. Listen, I read a book called How to Unfuck Your Brain, so I don't.
Because
I'm literally on a mission trying to figure this out.
Because there could be two siblings in the same household, in the same environment,
Sure, nature and nurture, yeah.
experiencing the same things, but they could be completely different in the way they think. So it's
Yes.
like, I think it is a lot of both.
Yeah.
Nature, nurture, yeah.
Yeah, nature, nurture. But I think what I've always been really impressed by the way like our marriage has gone is I have these sporadic spurts of like, wow, like you just, like I spazzed out. I spazzed out because of like other stuff that was panned up, like this email and that deadline and this other deadline and this idea and whether or not it's a good idea. And I promised somebody, 100,000, whatever amount of views. And, it's like that stress is on you. That, like, I think the other day was a prime example. Everything was going well. Like, you and I interacted well. Obviously kids are home during summer. We're working, shooting content. You're doing your work while keeping an eye on the kids. And then literally within like 20 minutes before the work day is done for me, like, because I have my own stopping clock, you're like, so when are we doing the thumbnail? And I was like, I don't know. Let me figure it out. And you were really kind to the way you received it. You didn't like respond back to it. But that's the one thing I've always been really impressed by you is your ability to look past my flaws and like, like just.
It's because I know
you don't you don't react to the negative reaction that I gave you.
I think it's because I know your intentions behind. Like sometimes if you do like say something in a way where you should have said it maybe a little nicer.
Always.
But I know your intention. I know that you're frazzled, you're stressed out in whatever moment that is. And so I think I try not to ask questions when you're in that like headspace. But there are times where, I do legitimately need to know, are we shooting a thumbnail? Are we not? So I think when you do have, but I mean, that took time. I think I was offended when you would have these like moments of just, I'm really stressed. I can't talk about this right now, honey. And it's not like you say it aggressively or mean, but
I say very short.
You're just short. And so I think there probably was a period of time or earlier on in our marriage when I felt like, why did he say it like that? And like you're reading into stuff. I just don't feel like I need to read into stuff because I know your intention. I know that, okay, you said that you're going to come back and be like, oh, actually, let's shoot that thumbnail. Or you'll come back and be like, sorry, I didn't mean to say it that way. I apologize. And you're always really, I think this is one of my favorite things about you, very quick to apologize. Well, maybe
no
now. Yeah.
Now?
You've always been pretty quick. You're not, even though you do tend to.
By the way, I'm not trying to pressure you into saying the things that I want you to say.
No, this is what I was trying to go with. When somebody offends you, you have a harder time
letting go.
Letting go of that.
I'm very bitter.
But if you yourself say something, or like you're just short with me, or you knew you shouldn't have said something that you said, you are very quick to apologize in those instances. And I do feel like, but when somebody hurts you, you have a hard time letting that go because you feel like you've been wronged.
Well, I think that's a conversation for another day, because that's a
Yeah.
whole different ball game of like somebody intentionally
But I
going,
mean, like in like arguments and stuff, you are always
Right.
really quick to be like, I'm sorry, honey, I didn't mean it like that, or hey, I'm really sorry that I said that to you. I that's one of my favorite things. I also love that we, after 10 years of marriage, very rarely fight. And I know people say it's good to fight, but like, I think it's good. There's a difference between having conflict and like fighting. So I think we still have conflict. We have things that come up where you're like, honey, why didn't you do that? I asked you to do that. Or like, but I think we never let it get there to like a full blown fight. How many fights do you think we've had in our life?
maybe
in our
5,
marriage?
but do you think okay, 5 real fights, 4 maybe, 4 to 5.
Probably like 4 to 5.
But then how many
Like
of
once
them
a
are
year.
passive aggressive comments? Like I'll do this thing with you, be like, so I have pet peeves about, let's say, maybe organization of things that are used of mine. So when you're staging, let's say you'll take a drill and you use that drill for work, and or maybe you use my truck for work too. Same example. And I'll come back to you, and the truck comes back empty, or the drill never made it back, and I'll be like, hey, you know what I like to do? You're like, what? When somebody takes my drill.
That's what I'm saying. You make like a joke out of it
It's
instead
very
of
passive
It's
aggressive.
not passive aggressive. It's funny.
Because you gotta laugh along with
You
it, and I think
do.
it makes the best of it.
It is. And that's what I love. It's like we still acknowledge the conflict or like
Right.
acknowledge the situation. But it's like, hey, it's really awesome
When somebody refills my car
after
they
taking
use
it all day. And then it makes me like go, oh man, I should have done that. And then
Do
next
you-
time I do it, because then I think about that
Do you think it's healthy or unhealthy?
I think it's healthy.
You think it's healthy?
Well, because we still love each other.
Well, yeah.
I
But
think it's, when it's unhealthy when it turns into like a bickering thing where they each.
like you pull it out when you're about to hurt somebody.
Or
Be like,
you say it. and
At
then the
least I
person-
fill up my
yeah,
car
At least
when
I fill up my car. What would be nice if I did? Yeah.
yeah.
And it's not like you did it that often. It would just be like every once in a while, and you would say it jokingly, and so it wasn't like this. It didn't feel passive aggressive, at least to me, unless you meant it that way and I didn't receive it that way.
I really think that if I was married to somebody else, I'd probably be divorced right now. Like you're
That 7 year.
7-year age. Like I think it takes a certain person to be like patient enough with you and look past. And I think this is the most important part, is like look past what your intentions are.
Yeah.
So that's the part that's like, I've always been really thankful that you didn't overthink and you didn't take it at face value because I said, hey, I don't have time. I don't know when I can get to it. You read it as like, all right, he's stressed out because the next couple of deadlines.
Right.
And
Instead of like
yeah, he'll be fine in the evening.
shooting like a comment back and be like, well, you don't
Right.
have to say it like that. I mean,
Right.
there's so many moments like that where you each could say something back or with, a
Or even
certain
not say.
tone.
Could
or not
you
say.
imagine me blowing up like that? Like I always do, be like, hey, I don't know. Like, let me figure things out. And
But that's how you say it. It's not that bad.
But let's say through a text message you respond with, or even in person, you just go, those silent
Okay.
killers, K, period. And you go, where are we?
Yeah. Oh
What
my
are-
gosh. Are
what
we
are we
going to be
doing?
okay?
Whoa, wait, what did I say?
Yeah.
And then work's over and it's cocktail hour and you're like loose and you're finally like relaxed a little bit and the problems got solved and you're like, hey babe, how are you? And you're like, I'm fine, thanks. And you're like, whoa.
But don't you feel like earlier on in our marriage, we had more of those moments of like,
I think so.
what's wrong? Nothing. I'm fine.
I have one really in the back of my mind right now that's very vivid.
What is it?
So this is what I learned.
Okay. What year into marriage?
First year.
Oh, okay.
First year.
Is it the Christmas thing?
Yeah.
I
That
think
one
we've
was
talked about it before, but
very much
you can mention it
very,
again.
Very much so. But it was interesting because it was one of those moments. So Christmas Eve was more important to you and your family, the way you were up in your upbringing. In my family, it was always like Christmas Day.
Mm-hmm.
So Christmas Eve was just, in my upbringing, was like just another
Just
way to
nothing.
get ready for the big event kind of
Okay.
thing. It was a hustle and bustle kind of thing. And we were supposed to move how many days after Christmas?
One. We
One
were
day.
moving the day after Christmas.
To Idaho from Seattle. And Seattle's where I grew up. Idaho's where she's from. So we were like, we got married. She moved in with me. And then we moved back right after I graduated. And we were supposed to turn in our apartment to get our deposit back. And so Christmas Eve was spent like cleaning our apartment, which I didn't think in my upbringing like it was important. Christmas Day, that was the big event. That was the big Showtime thing. And so here we are cleaning. I don't remember what I was cleaning, but you were at that moment scrubbing the bathroom, like shower or something like that, making sure we get our deposit back.
Oh, we had only been married maybe 4 months at this point.
4 months, barely. We're barely together. And I remember you're crying at that moment.
I was trying to hold it together.
You were holding it together. You're kind of short, but then then at that one point it finally came out bursting, and I was like, "What's the matter?" And you're like, "It's Chris." I don't remember how you said it, but it was something along the lines of a message like, "It's Christmas Eve," and then somehow it got puzzled into my mind. I was like, "Oh, this is the day. This is like it's not Christmas morning is the day. This is the day." And
which I don't know even if we had talked about that before.
We've never talked about it.
But it was
so
just like such
yes.
I don't think I realized it until that moment that it was such a big deal to me, because it was just like Christmas Eve, we'd do a Christmas Eve service at church. We would actually have like a big dinner. Then we would open presents actually on Christmas Eve with my family. And it was like my family and my cousins. We'd always do it together. That was just like a tradition over years and years. And I don't think I realized how important it was for me to do the Christmas Eve until I'm scrubbing a toilet on Christmas Eve, and like I know my family's like together, and it's like it was just like this moment of, wait a second, like this isn't what I've been doing, this feels wrong, you know. And I know we were trying to like clean before Christmas Day because we wanted to have that day to like spend with family and not have to clean our apartment. But it was in that moment where I was like, I had a lot of emotions.
Well, that was the prime experience that I had of like, you know, how a person is suppressing some of their feelings to what they really are feeling. And at that point, like I ran off to Albertsons like 15 minutes before they closed on Christmas Eve. And I was trying to find like the last bit of eggnog. And I was like, hey, we're going to watch a movie. It was going to be a Christmas movie. We're done cleaning. Like, you know, we're going to do this eggnog thing. And like, we'll do this, like some bit of like this festive thing.
Yeah. Just to cheer me up.
Well, I mean, I didn't know. And, you know, so it's like, I think you've come like a really long way of learning. I don't want to say it, this is weird the way I said it, but it's like you've been so kind the way you receive, the way I overreact to a lot of things.
Well, I think, like I said, it's just the awareness now of like your intentions. I don't think.
But why are you so, there's a lot of people who don't care about being aware. So what makes you want to be aware of those things? Because a lot of people will go, well, they have their life, I have my life, and then we have a portion of life together. So when they cross into my life and they make their thing inconvenient to me, or they're disrespectful or rude, why shouldn't I not tell them that, hey, you're wrong right now?
Well, that's what I mean about intention. It's like, I know you well enough to know that you're not intentionally being mean to me, or like,
it's weird when you say it that way.
Why?
Being mean.
Well, I mean, not mean, but like,
because I never
saying something. No, and you never like yell, or it's just like sometimes just when you're overwhelmed, you're just a little bit more short, or like, honey, I can't talk about this right now. There's a lot of times you say that.
I say it very rudely, though.
No, you don't.
I say it shortly.
I think rude is the wrong word, because it's more of like you're flustered.
I am flustered for sure. Maybe flustered
maybe that's
is
a better
right,
word. Yeah. And so you're just like, honey, I don't want to talk about it right now. And
this is one more thing that I don't need to figure out right now.
And so in my head, I'm like, well, I know that he wouldn't say something in that tone unless he's like overwhelmed, because I've had a long time to get to know you over the last 10 years. That's what I mean. Like, I feel like in the last year, we've really dialed it in. We've always been pretty good about communication, I feel like, in my opinion. Besides that Christmas debacle of 2012. But here's a prime example. literally not yesterday, I think, but the day before, I had like something happen with work where I was just frustrated and kind of upset. And you sat there and you said, you were trying to like figure out what's wrong. So I told you, like, there was just like a client thing. I was upset because I took it personally. And you go, at first you were like, hey, what if you try to do this, or like, you're asking questions. And then there was a certain point, because you're aware and you know me, you go, hey, do you want me to help you fix this, or you just want me to listen and like tell you I'm sorry this happened? And I was like, I just want you to tell
I did that yesterday.
It was the day before.
The day before
yeah,
yesterday.
So just saying, this is the story.
Oh yeah, that's the
Were
one?
you not listening?
No, I blanked out for a second.
And like, that is just a prime example of how like in tune you are with me, knowing like, hey, in this moment, do you want me just to listen and say, hey, I'm really sorry you're going through this? And I was like, yes, that's what I need.
It's interesting because I think guys don't. It's interesting how different of two different creatures we all are, because I think guys don't have this thing. It's like, do you want me to listen?
I know.
Do you want me to empathize? Because other guys go like, somebody broke up with me, like, bro, we're going out for beers.
Yeah.
We're going to go.
Uplifting.
Yeah. And you wake up with a hangover
Yeah.
and then great. Nothing fixed. Nothing's better. Right. With girls, it's a different story. And I learned that with you. It's like, as a fixer, you tell me, here's a problem. Here's a client. Here's the issue, blah, 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 blah. And you go, okay, thinking head goes on. Okay, well, we can do, I want to take the pain away from you. So I go, how can we fix this? Because I'm trying to give you an idea. And it turns out that you're not looking for an idea. You're just trying to process this.
I need somebody to say, hey, honey, I'm so sorry. And give me a hug and like, let me process it, while having somebody like encouraging me.
Yeah. I think with me,
I just want to vent to somebody. And I think you don't have that as much. You really do need just to fix. Even when it's your own problem,
yes, I need a fix.
You'd rather have me be like, hey, honey, I have this idea. Or like, what if we do this? That's what you'd want to hear.
If I'm stressed about something and I was like, I don't have a hook to this video. I don't have a title to this video.
You don't want somebody to be like, oh, I'm so sorry
I'm
you're
so
going
sorry.
through this.
I want somebody to be like, hey, what if we did this?
Yeah.
And I go, oh, I kind of see where you're going with.
Yeah.
Like, let's try that. Like, let's see where that goes. Like, let's unpack that a little bit more. But with you, you're like, let's just be here, where it's an unconclusive event still. The event still hurts us.
I just need I just need you to like.
And especially that event was like a work-related event and a problem that happened that you're like.
I do need to fix it. Yeah.
That's exactly the weirdest thing.
Eventually.
It's such a weird.
I need to process, man. I can't fix it like immediately. I need to like kind of like stew in it, which is interesting because I don't do that with people. I don't stew in like my emotions when I'm mad at somebody very much. But for some reason, when it's like a problem with like a situation, I feel like it takes me so long to process what I'm going to do.
Interesting.
I need to first just like feel the emotions.
Yeah, the negative
I need
ones,
somebody to tell me, hey, I'm so sorry. What can I give you a hug? I'm here, and then I can just vent to that person everything I'm feeling. Then maybe sleep on it.
Then journal.
Then wake up and do some yoga. Then do brunch with a mimosa. And then maybe circle back and think about what I want to do.
This is like a week later. And the problem is still not solved.
Yeah, that's actually probably true.
No, it's not going anywhere. And the client's still going like, hey, where are we at on this thing?
Could you imagine if you did that with your videos?
I'm still praying on this.
I've been trying to process this for the last 3 days. I just need a couple more days, couple more brunches.
Yeah. I'm going to go for a walk. I have a walk scheduled.
I have my list of things.
That's hilarious. I've come to this conclusion that like the last couple of weeks that men and women are such just different creatures, period. And I used to think that we can hold each other to the same standard. Like, well, why don't you do this when I need that? And why don't you do this when I crave that? It's just, they're two different creatures. It goes as simple as like somebody gets turned on by, their eyes, and the other person gets turned on by a feeling. Yes, you know what I mean? Or emotion, somebody, when they're going through a difficult time, they want a hug, and the other one needs a solution. Like, they're such different avenues that they're like, it's like talking to you know, a water creature versus a mountain creature. Like there's just two different
You
things.
can't even compare.
You
Like,
cannot
there's
compare.
no, nothing.
And it's so unfair to be like, well, why don't you do, you know,
Yeah.
maybe, hey, Alex, why don't you take a, you know, just a hug day? Well, like I don't care for a hug day. I need ideas. That's so interesting.
Humans are interesting.
But
so,
go ahead.
I was going to say, in this last 10 years, do you have like a memory or anything that stands out to you? One of your favorite moments?
Just in terms of like happy memories, or is it more of
I
along the
was
like
going
a
to say
difficult
happy.
memory? Happy memories. Happy memories. I'm sure there's one.
Happy
I'm
memories.
sure there's at least one.
Is there?
Um,
You have to say, well, they were all good, honey.
no, they were all good.
Just something that stands out.
You're saying in the last year or the last
10.
10? Okay.
Is that too? Is
That's
that too broad?
That's too broad because there's a cycle.
Yeah.
I will say this is I remember distinctly, no matter how bad things got, I was always in my head about like, when I say how bad things got, it was more of like how many medical bills we couldn't cover because when we got married, we were a bunch of broke kids. I do remember in the midst of that, how much that all bothered me. And I wish, well, so I remember how much it bothered me, but I also realized in hindsight how happy we still were. Like it didn't bring in our marriage, but if I could if I could tell the 25-year-old me when we got married in the midst of all of that, I would say like one thing is like, no matter how bad and how scary this unpredictable thing is in terms of like, here's a bill that you didn't expect that you can't cover, that it will pass. Like this is the word, it will figure itself out somehow. That's the thing that I would tell myself. Because in the midst of it, I thought that was the absolute worst thing. But the reality
like nothing's ever gonna resolve. We're just gonna if you just feel like you're in this like pit and you'll never come out of.
If you have a couple $100 in your savings and you have a couple $100 bill, medical bill, well, how do you look past it? You're like, does my survival on this earth continue because I can't, after I cover this bill?
And you throw kids in the mix and you're like, I need to provide for my family, my children.
But the reality is somehow it all figures itself out. Yeah. And there's a saying, somebody said this, they said, the worst thing that has ever happened to you is the worst thing that has ever happened to you today. Meaning like, that's just the standard that you have set. It's not the absolute worst, but it's up to today.
Yeah.
If you've been raised in nothing but blue skies and green grass, and then you have a couple of cloudy days and burnt grass, then you think that's the absolute worst. But that's just compared to where you kind of came from. It's not that I came from money or anything like that, but it's just in that scenario, I think as a guy, I'm thinking this is, if I can't provide for this bill, then there's an opportunity for an absolute collapse. But the reality is like everything figures itself out. And we went through those cycles time and time again.
Oh,
so
yeah.
That's one hard lesson that I've learned from it. So your question was what's your favorite memory and all that stuff. But I think that was my strongest memory of the fact that no matter how difficult finances were in the very beginning, we still truly enjoyed each other's company.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Still do.
We still went for bike rides.
I'm trying to think. So we got married and we got pregnant like 4 months later. So year 2, we had a baby.
By the way, we got pregnant when we were married. So
don't
crunch the numbers like, oh, you're a couple of months short. We did it in cahoots.
In cahoots. Yeah, it was like 4 months later though. It was pretty quick. And then year 3, I got pregnant again. Or was it year 2? Year 2. Because Jack was... No. Year 3. That's crazy. I feel like I was pregnant a lot.
You were just pregnant just time and time again. Even though we only have 3 kids.
Well, there was a break in between.
Yeah.
I strongly remember just when we had Beckham and Jack was like 2, I feel like that was a moment for me. Oh my gosh. Where I just remember feeling like it was a very hard time in my life. Even thinking back, if I
Is that when I was working nights? Yeah.
And you working nights at the hospital, if I can pinpoint like a season, that would be it. I remember distinctly. It was we also just bought our very first house. You switched jobs, started working nights. I had just had a baby. There was like something else. We had all these medical bills coming. And I remember almost every night you would come home. Oh no, there was a period of time you were days. Maybe it was after. You did nights, and then you kind of shifted. Yeah. There was a season where every single evening you would come home at like 7:30 because your schedule was 7 to 7, and you wouldn't go home till like 7:30. And I would just be sitting on the stairs, just crying with both of the kids in my arms because I was
7:30 in the morning, right?
No.
Because I'd come from night shift or day shift?
No, it was when it was your day shift. Is what I'm remembering.
So I'd come home at 7:30.
The night shift, I think I blocked it out of my mind, honestly.
You kept drinking?
No, because it was so hard. I just feel like it was a blur. It was all a blur. I do distinctly remember though the day shift, you would come home and I would just be crying on the stairs because I was so tired.
Our boys were difficult.
They were just one, but well, and a baby, of course. That was a very hard time. Very hard time. And we were trying to like make ends meet because you had just switched jobs. We weren't like stable. We have all these hospital bills coming in. We didn't have insurance at the time. So I'm like, we're trying to figure things out. And I think I was still finishing up. No, I had just finished school. I think I had just graduated. So that was like a season. I just remember feeling the weight of like, this is hard. Being a parent is hard. I have 2 basically like babies.
One's getting potty trained. The other one's just born.
Because they're only 19 months apart. So that was, But it's like, we got through it. Yeah. Our boys are like amazing now. They're such good kids. Yeah. So it's just interesting to look back because I distinctly remember just like even like sitting on those stairs in our very first house, just like crying, waiting for you to come home.
Yeah. And what's wild to me is in the middle of that time, that was before this idea of Mr. Build It ever came.
Oh yeah, that was before. Mm-hmm.
So we just kind of thought this is our life until our kids get a little bit older.
Yeah.
Like there's no opportunities to be like, well, I'm not gonna work a night shift, or I'm not gonna work these 12-hour shifts, or I'm not gonna. You just had to do it. You're just kind of like, well, I guess this is what the rest of my life looks like. And on your end, it's like I guess you have to figure out what, the day-to-day. And
how to not cry.
How to not cry. It's a very sad thing to say, but it's like, how do you not cry? So it's looking back at it now, seeing the kids growing up. And it's not that we did anything right or perfect, but it's just the fact that they all grew out of it and became really good people.
And they were little. Like anything is so hard when you're in that. Yeah. Especially with more than one.
Seeing a 9-year-old right now going like, oh, do you need me to go and, take the dishes out of the dishwasher or take the trash out or, go get the baby out of the crib? Mm-hmm. You're like, thanks. Like, I feel like I have a stepdad around the house. That's just like helping around.
This is what you wanted, babe.
Yeah, I've always wanted a stepdad.
Just always wanted a stepdad.
That helps around our family.
For our children.
Yeah, yeah. No, you got to have these kind of memories. Like I love and hate going back down this memory lane because it's not a happy thing, but what's great is to know that your friendship was preserved with your spouse in the midst of all of that.
I don't ever feel like we had any like bitterness.
Mm-hmm. We had bitterness, like growing pains, bitterness, like trying to figure out what marriage is like. And
I mean, towards each other.
Right. But we never allowed our circumstances to be bitter towards each other. Mm-hmm. It's not like I went and we were like, hey, we can't afford an extra cup of coffee this month. And then I went ahead and like bought,
I probably did. Let's be
tools.
honest.
You didn't?
No. When you told me not to buy coffee, I think I still did. Oh, when we were really poor.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean.
I remember actually it was like before we bought our very first house we were renting and I wanted to like decorate it. And I mean, we had no money.
But that's where my stability started from, was like my drive to like build this future for you.
But I mean, that was what I was going back to is I
Right.
just remember I wanted to decorate it, but like we didn't have any money. And I remember you telling me, hey, honey, like we can't spend any more this month, you know. And I remember going to Hobby Lobby and I bought like something for like $40.
I'll be pissed. Huh?
And you were like, hun, I told you like we can't buy that. And I was like, but it's only $40. And you're like, yeah, but like it all adds up. And we have like literally no extra to spend on things like that. I'm like, but I want the house to look so pretty.
We have $100 in our savings account.
Yeah, seriously. We had like, nothing left for like food.
Yeah.
But I wanted to buy a vase.
Yeah. I don't like these memories. I don't.
I have I like these memories. I feel like it's hard to think back on
I like
it.
that I got to experience them with you. That's what I
Yeah.
like. And I like the fact that we're always happy in the midst of it.
Yeah.
But
But it's also, isn't it? Don't you think it's important to remember so that you're like
I'm very
even
grateful.
more grateful
Yes.
and thankful
Yes.
for what you have now? Because I think that we had so many learning opportunities where now I'm like, man, I'm so thankful we did go through those moments.
Do you know why I feel this way? It's because, okay, so imagine we have the conversation with, let's say, Jack, our oldest. And he shares a story. It's like, oh, I remember when I signed up for T-ball and we couldn't afford to get me a mitt. And here you are as an adult hearing this like
It's
20 years
hard.
later.
Yeah.
And you go, dude, I will sell everything that I
Yeah.
have and I will buy you the freaking mitt.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean?
know.
So it kind of hits that kind of emotional
especially as
feel.
like
Yeah.
you were the one working and it does.
Yeah.
It's hard. It is emotional because you
want to provide them everything.
always,
Right.
you want the best for your family. You want them to have everything that you didn't have. And also your spouse.
Mm-hmm. What are you looking up on your phone?
I wanted to do you know those like TikToks and stuff, like who's more likely to, or who's in the relationship? Let's do those questions.
Okay.
But
Who's
let me
more
see.
likely to be in a relationship?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Say your first one.
Let's see. Who is more likely to wash the dishes? You.
Oh, that's really kind of you. Thank you.
Well, it depends. If it's during the day, it's me. If it's after dinner, it's you.
Hold on a second. It's accurate, but don't majority of the dishes kind of lay over till dinner time?
Yes, but there's a lot of days during the
So
week where I do the dishes during the day, and there's still dishes
So
in the
when
sink for the
there's
evening.
2 kids' plates and 2 kids' bottles.
No. No, sometimes it's full.
Listen,
Especially if it's like pots and pans.
who's eating during the day?
Our kids.
What do you have
In the
Why
summertime.
do we have pots and pans that live off of like mac and cheese?
Because I make them eggs in the morning, and then there's like soup, and then there's mac and cheese.
Okay. Also, has to be like a little like disclaimer. The other day, our daughter, who's our youngest, she was picky about what she's eating. So I saw you create her this 4-person size scrambled eggs, then blueberries on another thing, then watermelon cut up on another thing, and then avocado cut up on another thing. She had like a 4-course meal.
Well, first you gotta get
And
the
she
eggs
took a
and the
nibble, a
avocado.
nibble, and a nibble, but it was enough to feed 10 people.
Well, choice options. No, I think I already had the blueberries and the watermelon, so I just like gave it to her. But she really does like eggs, scrambled eggs. in the
How
morning.
much of it does she like? An egg or
Okay,
two
this
or
is my
12?
problem. Every time I only make her 2 eggs, she asks for more.
Yes.
She says, more, mama.
Yes. Mother,
And then when I
please.
make her 3, she never eats them.
Okay, so let's stick to the first one.
Because I have to make them
I
again
mean, it
anyway.
only makes sense, right?
No, because then if I make her 2 and she asks for more, I have to make a whole separate one. So I might as well just make 3 right away.
Just make 2 eggs.
No, because then she's always asking for another. It's just annoying.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Okay. I'm glad that I'm more likely to do the dishes at night.
Good night. You do. You're really good about.
Thank you.
And that was a recent
I
thing.
really try to
Yeah.
do that. I really do try to do that because you do a great job making dinner. I want to.
You're really sweet, even when you're tired. You always, yeah.
Well,
but that was like.
you're
so,
also very kind to like reciprocate. Like you are working hard, kind of thing. So it's like that's
You're
not a lot of people
so
do.
hard.
Not a lot of people. Like I said, if I was married to somebody else, I'd be divorced by now.
But so I just thought of this when we first got married. Also, there was a point, when you like I had these expectations
Mm-hmm.
for you, but I never communicated them to you.
Mm-hmm.
And so you never knew I had these expectations, but I still had them.
Sure.
I remember when we first got married,
Okay.
I would want you to do the dishes, but I would never like tell you. I just wanted you to know that I wanted you to do the dishes.
How would you do that?
No, I would just be mad at you because you
Oh,
wouldn't do the
cool.
dishes.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good way. Be like, they're not done, huh?
No. This is the thing. That's what I'm saying. Like our communication has improved so much over the years.
Oh.
In the beginning, I wouldn't tell you. I would just be like mad under my breath and not tell you
Yeah.
anything. And then you would just
Versus,
be like, why are you upset?
Versus today, you'd like walk up to me,
Like-
give me a kiss on the cheek, be like, thanks for doing the dishes.
Yeah.
And you're like, she did that 2 times in a row.
Maybe
Maybe I
I
should
should
do
do
the dishes.
Yeah. Like or I'll ask you like, hey honey, can you go change Harper's diaper while I do this? Or can you
Right.
do the dishes and I'll go change her? Like
I always thought you
tell
liked
you
changing
now.
her diaper.
Yeah. Her stinky ass poop.
Hey, that's our daughter you're talking
It
about.
smells so bad. I can't. Whew. Every time I think about it, there's like chunks of food in there. Ugh.
Oh, come on. Easy.
Like, yeah.
Easy.
Ugh.
She's gonna
Bodily
be
fluids.
she's gonna be 20 one day and listening to this podcast.
Well, I hope she knows that she should have been potty trained by now. And she just
Her
refuses.
future stepmom and stepdad should have taught her.
Yeah. But yeah, that's so going back to that. I think our communication has, at least for me, I used to like feel uncomfortable asking you to help
Mm-hmm.
because I felt like I didn't want you to like feel like I was pressuring you into something. I
Yeah.
don't know. So I didn't ask you, and I would just expect you to like almost like what is it called, telepathically know
Yeah.
what I'm asking you. So that didn't last very long, and then I was like, maybe I should just ask him to the dishes. I'm sure he'll say yes.
Yeah. No, it's
Learned.
definitely learned, and we both had to have like a finger on the pulse and seeing action to reaction.
Yeah.
What's next?
Who is more likely to clean up after a party?
You.
True.
True.
I hate leaving the stuff out.
Yeah, because I'm going like maybe tomorrow.
Let's just go to bed.
Yeah, let's just go to bed.
Especially if it's like midnight.
Yeah. You have. Yeah.
I
really want.
have a really
and
hard time.
I'm starting to learn that I need to like, when it's like a party and you're like, cool, like we're all just like having drinks and like whatever, like all I have to do is put my kids down and then go to bed and
Yeah.
who cares? Like I'm not driving or anything like that. So
Yeah.
now I have to be like, okay, save room for helping clean.
Don't forget. Do you have like alarm?
Mm-hmm.
Ding ding.
Don't forget,
Help your wife
enjoy your
clean.
cocktail, but keep in mind there's going to be an hour and 30 minutes of you having to do
Clean up.
dishes and clean up.
Yeah. I just like I have such a hard time because then I wake up in the morning. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
it looks like a house party.
And
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then it's like, the dishes are all like covered, and now you have to like soak everything because you
Mhm.
didn't get it. Yeah, it's a whole
Yeah.
thing.
What's next?
Who is most likely to drive on long trips?
Me.
You for sure.
Me.
If anybody knows me, they know I hate driving.
You are a great driver.
I've actually gone better though about like being okay to drive. I used to hate it so much.
You've been very kind because I would be vocal about like being my back hurting or getting tired or whatever, and I would be vocal to prove to myself that I don't have an ego, right? Like to tell
To
a girl,
drive.
be like, hey, I'm too tired to drive or my back hurts to drive, and you've been really good about like being receptive of that, but you are terrible about being on pace. You're a great driver. Like I've never been like, whoa, what are you doing?
What do you mean
But-
on pace?
Well, so like,
Like
my folks live in Seattle, and
Oh,
I
like I'm a
know
slow driver,
it's
is that what you're
it's a
saying?
7.5 to 8 hour drive, and I'm not a fast driver, but I'll go, okay, well, if on average I pace myself 10 miles an hour over, and I guarantee you, every person will have like relationship to like this part.
10 miles over. That's a ticket, sir.
That's a very low ticket. Those
Still
are low
a ticket.
odds.
Do you
Those
know
are
how much I abide by the rules?
Listen, but
3
the fact
miles
that
over.
if we're driving for 7.5 to 8 hours over the course of 200 miles, or over the, how many miles is that? No, that's not 200.
500 miles. I don't
500 miles. I know that we can shave off about 45 minutes to an hour of our drive time. And then you go, being really nice, you go,
I'll
hey,
drive,
I'm
honey."
happy to drive. And you sit in, and everything that I've built up in the last 6 hours,
gone.
it's out the window. We're back on par. I'm trying to shoot a birdie. You're getting us back on par.
Yeah, which is fine too. No.
No.
Okay, I'm a
Do you
solid,
want to be stuck in the car for 8 hours?
I mean, yeah, whatever.
Okay, let me ask you this:
If
if the pilot goes, folks, I know your flight is scheduled for 1 hour and 56 minutes of flight time. I think we can get it down to 1 hour and 30 minutes. How happy do you get?
okay, but if the safety of the passengers is at stake,
No, we have life insurance.
yeah, but our children are in the car.
Yeah, they don't get life insurance.
I'm like such a rule follower. I can't like 5 miles over, and that's about it. That's all I can do.
You really are.
And then yeah, I am. I'm such a rule follower. And then it's like, yeah, I don't want to get pulled over. I don't want to like, and I'm also like really safe. So if I'm driving behind a slow car, usually
Okay,
I'll
I'm sorry.
go
Don't say
slower.
I'm really safe because I've seen you brake before you come into a red light, and I would have pressed the brakes about 5 Mississippis ago.
I am really weird about. I brake like really late.
You trust brakes way more than an average person.
Like whoops, maybe yeah. Should have started that a little earlier.
Do you know how many times I grab the door panel? I go, why are we not braking?
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Well, a lot of things are misconstrued because, like, when somebody else is driving. So I remember we took
You're
a couple
not
of
the one, yeah.
side by
feeling.
sides. We took them off roading, and you're driving 35 miles an hour on these trails, and you feel fine. And then somebody else drives 40 miles an hour on these trails, and you feel like you're about to meet your maker. So
Yeah.
I think it's just.
It just depends because I can feel that I'm braking just fine. But
Right.
yeah, when you're in
Yeah.
the passenger seat, you're like not
Right.
used to it.
Mm-hmm.
It feels different.
Completely agree.
Who is most likely to do the grocery shopping?
You. I don't want to
In the
be rude.
store.
I don't want to be rude when I say you, but also
Don't.
these are your questions. When's the last time you stepped foot into a grocery store?
Like last week,
To buy what?
Albertsons.
To buy what?
I was buying drinks for the boating thing
Okay.
for your birthday
Thank you. Okay.
last Sunday.
Okay. Now, on average, how is your grocery shopping experience?
It's done through Instacart, and I will gladly admit that because it is incredible. And also, can I say something?
Yeah, please do.
I feel like actually I'm saving a lot of money because when you're in the grocery store, you grab a lot of extra things that you don't need because
Okay.
you see it
True.
on the shelf.
Now, also, can I counter that?
No.
There's some things that you buy that we still have in our fridge that you think we ran out of. And now we have 4 of those
That's
things.
true because I'm like, oh, we need this. And now it's
No,
like,
I think what you do
salsa.
is
I'm
you
really
go to the
bad at
settings
salsa.
that says, do you want to
Just-
buy this again?
That's exactly it.
And that's
I
what
go,
that's
recently purchased. And I'll go, oh, I need that. I need that.
I'm like,
and
why
I
are we
need
always
that."
eating the same thing? It's because you go, oh,
It's easy.
they're fine. Nobody complained.
It's easy. I did that for a while. I feel like I kept buying salsa, and I'm like, you're like, honey, we have 5 salsas in the
We
fridge.
had 5 salsas, 100%. 5 salsas and no chips.
No chips, just the
Yeah.
salsa.
5 different types of salsa.
Man, it's worth it though. I have
Listen,
to go to the grocery store.
That's fine. I'm okay with it.
Who's most likely to cook?
You. Except for any opportunity you find for me to grill for date night. Or not date night, when we have friends over.
It's because it's like.
And I'm not a
relieving the
great-
pressure.
I'm not a great griller. That's a thing.
You are. You're getting there.
I'm getting there.
You're really good with wings. I
Do you
feel
know?
like.
Okay, here's how I'll compare
ribs.
myself to like grilling. When it comes to grilling, I'm like the girl that
Are you like
when
second
they first
string
when
quarterback?
like a girl that just got married in the first year of marriage and she's learning how to cook. I'm that when it comes to grilling. Like I'm just started to learn how to like.
But you're
grill.
getting there. I feel like you've made really good wings lately.
This is what she gives me wings.
Ribs. You're great at ribs.
Ribs is a little
Yeah.
bit more up there. Sure.
Though,
yeah.
I feel like burgers were really good the last time you made them.
Sure.
So you're getting
okay.
there.
Okay. The two most basic common things. You're like.
Well,
you
what
can-
else do you grill?
You can reheat.
Chicken?
You can reheat some soup if you wanted to.
On the
you
grill.
know, unless.
You're great at making eggs. I think one of our kids even told me. I think it was Jack.
Uh-huh.
Can you make them the way Dad makes them? And I was like,
Because I put a $10 bill underneath his bed.
Make it the way Dad makes it. I was
That's
like,
the
oh,
dad.
stab me in the
Yeah,
heart.
like shut it.
Fine. Have
Shut it.
Dad make it for you.
Yeah. Well, you're not having any breakfast if Dad's making it for you.
Who is more likely to take out the trash?
The boys.
Yeah,
Well, I
say-
take it out. I put it on the street.
I take it out and put it
Yeah, what
next
is with that?
next to the
So
garage
you
door.
take it out of the bins, you put it in the garage, and then when you go into the garage, about 14 inches to the left is the trash, but you don't put it in the trash. You put
no,
it down.
I put it
Oh,
in the
you
trash.
put it at the door before it. Like you put it at the
If
wall
it's
before it.
cardboard, I put it by the door to the garage because I know you don't like trash on the
In
so
the
then I have to-
mudroom? Yeah.
No, in the garage,
Well, they're still there.
the boxes.
Yes, they're still there.
I broke them down though, and so I
Yes,
didn't know what to
and
do.
they were. Here's the fun part. They're not only broken down, which thank you,
You're welcome.
but they're broken down and laying on the side.
But where
of
do
it.
I put them? If they're broken down,
Buy less stuff?
that was your stuff.
My stuff? What was my stuff?
Well, some of it was the huge.
I saw the
Costco
Hello
boxes.
Fresh box.
No, it was the huge Costco boxes they give you.
And that's my stuff.
Yeah, because you eat the food I buy.
The box thing has to be like driving me the most
But
crazy.
we both get equal. Okay, let's be real here.
Let's be
we get
reasonable.
equal amount of boxes between you and I.
I'll argue that.
Especially lately. I've
No.
been getting way less boxes. And
No.
also,
You know how we can do this experiment? So
those don't count.
Ben works
Out
with
the
us.
door.
Ben works with us, and Ben will come over, and he'll have a garage door opener when we're out of town, and Ben will be like, "Wow, you have a lot of boxes showing up," and I was like, "Well, have you looked at who's on the title of those boxes?" And he's like, "Yeah, they're all Irina."
That's not true.
Okay, look
He
at
said
the
that?
look at all the boxes.
That just happened to be my stuff that day.
So what do you say? I'm trying to see
I
how
mean,
you
like,
breaking
he
this
just
down.
caught me in a bad day. It was my stuff.
You have a good day.
Yeah, when it's your stuff.
On average, I always get outbid by the amount of boxes you get. Always. Hand on the Bible.
No.
Yes. Because you have AG1. Well, but also, you can't just count boxes. You have to count packages. So you have the AG1
Yeah, but
package.
those you can just toss. I'm seeing boxes that you have to break down.
So if you were
You
to
get
call,
big ones from
if
Ryobi
you-
that you have to break down
if
all
you-
the time.
So let me ask you this. If you can call into like World Market and be like, hey guys, can we X-nay on the boxes and just do everything in bags? That means you have 0 boxes? Yeah. Technically.
So
No.
I can get off on
You
a
get
technicality.
far more packages than I do.
Okay, but it's like 60-40.
You're 60, I'm 40? I'll meet you at 30-70.
No.
That's not far away. That just gives me a little bit of bragging rights. But listen, it's
That's
not.
10 extra percent.
That's not accurate.
60-40.
I'll take 640. That's fine.
Take the 40, babe.
I'll take 40. So you agree that you, with the 40 that I take, you get more boxes than
Well,
I
I think I just
do.
get...
No. If I'm going to give you 60 or
Well,
I'll
also
take
it's
40.
not fair because
Why?
Okay, this is why.
bulk, the size of it?
No, this is why it's not fair. If I'm buying the kids stuff, my name's on it. It's not for me. It's like for kids or for
but
like...
if it was up to me, the kids would have 2 articles of clothing.
I know.
Yeah.
Poor kids.
Poor kids.
Who is most likely to sleep in on a Sunday?
You. Always
Me.
you.
Me. I
Also,
love
Monday
sleeping
through
in.
Friday and Sunday
No,
and
I come
Saturday.
at 7:30.
Sure, but most likely you.
Yes.
Good
I will
luck.
admit
The
that.
only time I'm in bed at 8 o'clock in the morning is because I woke up at 7, wide awake, and be like, well,
Nobody's up.
nobody's up. I might as well just try to fall back asleep.
True. Who is most likely to make a big purchase?
You. Unless it's something I'm really excited about.
It's mostly me. I'm most likely to do that 100%.
All right, give us our last one.
Let me see. Okay. Well, there's 3 more.
All right.
Who is most likely to say sorry first?
Me.
Me.
You?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's
I think we're both
Well, that's
equal.
that's a good argument to have. Like you don't want to be like, you don't want the other person to be like, oh, you. Yeah, you don't.
Or we should have said the opposite. You. No, you.
No,
No, you.
Oh, that'd be nice. Yeah. Should we
No,
cut
I
that?
think. Yeah, let's cut it.
Who's more likely?
To say sorry first. No, I think we're pretty even. I
I-
think when you know you're wrong, you say it. first.
I think it's the only reason why we're still married. No, I do. Like,
Yeah.
I think that truly
So important to apologize.
to just be like not holding up to apologize. Like, I think we're both very quick to apologize, and I truly do think that that's the secret to
Yes.
this marriage.
The secret sauce.
Well,
There's more.
there's
Secret
more sauce.
Oh, this is good. Who is most likely to give in and eat the last piece of pizza?
Me. Oh, all the pizza.
All day.
All pizza.
All the pizza.
The
whole box of pizza.
The most shameful experience I've ever had is we went to your parents' house, which they have a pool, and they're always kind to let us use it with our friends. And we would have some friends over there, and we would buy like 5 or 6 boxes of pizza, but we would come back with like leftover slices, and that would fill up one large pizza. We'd come home, and I would destroy the entire 18-inch box of pizza, all before the kids go down to bed, while having more pizza while we're at the pool.
So it's like you had pizza and then you
And
come
then I
home.
had more pizza, so
Yeah.
I'm way more.
So now we learn not to bring the pizza home.
do not put it on fire in the dumpster.
Who is most likely to strike up a conversation with a stranger?
Me.
You.
Yeah.
I'm shy.
But I don't like people either. So it's weird that I would still vote me.
I know. It's because you're outgoing, more outgoing.
Yeah, but I also don't like people.
But you are more outgoing. You.
Sure.
I mean, you're like.
If I'm drinking, sure.
Maybe it depends on the situation then.
Okay.
Who is most likely to stay up all night watching movies?
You all
Me.
day. You'll take a bath, and then you've done this thing where I've never seen this being done unless people are in college. We were
What do I do?
we were at our last house, and you're working on a client like mood board.
Oh,
And
my all-nighter?
I came home probably around 11 with hanging out with a buddy. And then you had an iPad on and your show in the office, and you're doing your mood boards. You're working. I gave you a kiss. I went to bed. I woke up in the middle of the night, like 4 o'clock in the morning or something like that. And your bed is still untouched. And then I was like, something happened. Like her heart stopped or something. I need to go check on her. And then lo and behold, you're still there, just like working.
Yeah.
But while watching this thing, and you're like,
Because
just
it like
totally
keeps
fine.
me up because I know
Yeah.
I have to finish this. I have to get, I have like usually a set point I want to get to.
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason, mood boards take me so long to do because I have to like make it perfect.
Mhm.
And so I'm like, well, if I'm going to be doing this work, might as well have some
Yeah,
like
yeah.
entertainment.
You're definitely more likely.
I am. And I've actually pulled a few all-nighters.
You have. It's
Working.
scary the fact you did that as an adult
I
in
know.
your 30s.
Oh my gosh, I did
that's-
not feel
The
good.
destruction that it takes on your body is so different than when you're younger.
Who is most likely to quit their job?
Well, I quit my previous job.
Yeah.
What is that question
I
like?
don't know. Who is most likely to quit their job? So I get this is a hard one because we both have like businesses. It's not a job.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
It's just like a make believe thing that we're doing.
Make believe. We're just pretending.
I
Okay,
thi-
let's do one
last
more.
One, yeah, last
Okay.
one. Give us a good one.
Let me see. Who's most likely to be late? That's me. Oh, who is more likely to find money in an old jacket pocket during spring cleaning
Do you
season?
want to answer this one?
That's you.
That's me.
Because you've done it so many times. Oh, look, honey, a $50 bill. I'm like, that's just been sitting in your pocket since last winter.
Cash is so archaic. Like
I know.
when you sell something on Facebook and somebody gives you that, you're
I
like,
was like, what do I do with this?
when do I go put this in?
I have to wait till I get an invoice or a check
Well, it's
to wait to deposit that, or you
Well,
just keep it in your purse.
I don't want to be too pretentious because there's been a time in our life
Yeah.
that we're like, listen,
It's just cash. Like
run it over there.
Yeah.
But
Nobody.
cash is like, it's the same equivalency of you meeting a Facebook.
It's like inconvenient now.
a Facebook seller, and you go, cool, you're scared. You're selling kids shoes, ski boots. They're $20. $20 is not hard for you to go get cash back.
Yeah.
But you go, I don't want to stop by at a bank. Hey, is it cool if I Venmo you?
Yeah. It's just the convenience.
That's the convenience of it. Yeah.
Oh, and then getting like cash, for selling something. It just like
Right.
it's like another thing you have to go deposit it now versus Venmo is like instantly in your account.
Right.
Yeah, first world problems, man.
Yeah, I would unfollow you. I'd cancel you if I were you.
Cancel
Yeah.
me?
Yeah.
For saying that?
Yeah. That's so pretentious.
Cash.
Oh,
I would take cash. No, I'm just saying we are just so used to convenience
Yes.
now
Yes.
as a society.
Well, like I said, if you go find like a $12 thing for a kid, you're like, can you please tell me you take Venmo or Cash App? Like, I don't want to go to Albertsons or, Wells Fargo, get the thing, then go find a way to break it, and then go to your house. Like, can I just send this and pick it up in the morning and just leave it in your front door? Like,
because I feel like even checks are like archaic too, but I feel like at least with checks you can actually do the mobile deposit if you get like a check, which is nice. You don't have to leave your house. Well,
Mrs. M, this has been really fun. Thanks for being married to me for 10 years. Thanks for putting up with my BS.
You're welcome.
Thank you. You are the secret to our marriage and our success, and I'm just really appreciative of it.
Thank you.
Okay. On the next episode,
do you want me to say some nice things about you?
You guys will meet my kid's new stepmom.
On the next episode of Next Door Neighbors.
Thanks, guys. Go watch the YouTube.
Happy 10 years, babe.
Thanks. Happy 10 years to you as well. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.